Hey everybody, the Australian Prime Minister is speaking right now. I want to see if we can go right to the Australian Prime Minister speaking live. I think about the Bondi Beach attack. So let's go over there real quick and check that out live right now. Hold on one moment here. Let me get this on the screen for you. Hang on one moment. Going to put on the Australian Prime Minister.
Which is, of course, an ancient hatred. We have seen a series of appalling attacks targeting Australia's Jewish community. That culminated on Sunday in one of the worst acts of mass murder that this country has ever seen. The terrorist atrocity that killed 15 innocent people, including 10-year-old Matilda, who will be buried later today, was an attack on our Jewish community, but it was also an attack on the Australian way of life. Australians are shocked and angry. I am angry. It is clear we need to do more to combat this evil scourge, much more. A special envoy to combat anti-Semitism, Gillian Siegel, has delivered a report that sets out further steps we can take. The Australian government adopts and fully supports the plan to combat anti-Semitism. We have already legislated for hate speech, hate crimes, hate symbols, outlawing doxing. We've already undertaken education action, including appointing the first ever student ombudsman and the development of the Envoy's report card on universities. We'll continue to work through the implementation of the 13 recommendations in consultation with the Jewish community and the Envoy, and of course the first recommendation was the adoption of the IRA definition of anti-Semitism that the government adopted. Today I'm announcing a significant number of additional actions to build on the plan. Firstly, the Attorney-General and Minister for Home Affairs will develop a package of legislative reforms to crack down on those who spread hate, division and radicalisation. The National Security Committee has agreed that changes will include the following 5 points. Agreed changes will include: 1. Aggravated hate speech offence for preachers and leaders who promote violence. Secondly, increased penalties for hate speech promoting violence. Thirdly, making hate an aggravating factor in sentencing crimes for online threats and harassment. Fourthly, developing a regime for listing organisations whose leaders engage in hate speech promoting violence or racial hatred. And fifthly, developing a narrow federal offence for serious vilification based on race and or advocating racial supremacy. The Minister for Home Affairs will also have new powers to cancel or reject visas for those who spread hate and division in this country or would do so if they were allowed to come here. David Gonski has agreed to lead a 12-month task force which will include the Envoy to ensure the Australian education system prevents, tackles and properly responds to anti-Semitism. The East Safety Commissioner, the Special Envoy and the Department of Communications will work together to provide online safety advice to address anti-Semitism. This builds on the extension in my EFO as well, all of these measures, of funding to provide overall security support to the Jewish community, including at places of worship. I can also announce today the disaster recovery funding arrangements will be triggered in response to the attack. So the Commonwealth and New South Wales will share the financial burden of the recovery. This is the first time that the DRFA has been used for a terrorist attack. This will provide support to victims, their families and small business impacted in the wake of the Bondi Beach terror attack. Over the coming days, I'll have more to say about the government's response to Sunday's atrocity, including on gun control, and I note that New South Wales is moving on that next week. Every Jewish Australian has the right to be proud of who they are and what they believe. And every Jewish Australian has the right to feel safe, valued and respected for the contribution that they make to our great nation. The terrorists, inspired by ISIS at Bondi Beach, sought to turn Australians against each other. Australians have responded to that act of hatred with love and sympathy for those in mourning. Australians responded to that act of cowardice and violence with bravery and with kindness. And we saw it coming together last night at St Mary's Cathedral of interfaith communities that was really uplifting. It is now up to all of us to honour the courage of those Australians, the heroes of Bondi, in the most meaningful way possible by eliminating the evil of anti-Semitism from our society. I'll ask the Envoy to make some comments and then Commissioner Barrett.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Obviously, we gather to consider this my report and the implementation of it, adoption and implementation of it, in the shadow of the Bondi massacre, which has been an unbelievable tragedy for the community. I have been overwhelmed by support from members of the community, both here and from overseas and from all other envoys around the world. So we stand, I think, at a very important moment, not only for our community, but for fighting anti-Semitism around the world. This more formal response has been a long time coming, but of course it does build on a range of activities and work that started as soon as the report was delivered. It is an important next step. There are a number of urgent initiatives that the Prime Minister has announced relating, of course, to law reform and visa and immigration work. I'm encouraged by some of the medium-term actions that will take place over this next year relating to education. I think they are incredibly important. We have to lay foundations for the future of the nation. And there will be ongoing work across all the sectors in the report, longer term, and my office will be engaged in many of them. For example, the work that will take place in relation to online hate. That is an issue all over the world, and we will need to consult more broadly. We have done a lot of work already in that space, but there is a lot to do to bring it to some conclusion. But I'm looking forward, and I expect the full cooperation of the government, as the Prime Minister has announced, with its ongoing implementation. And it was always envisaged, as you know, the report is quite a high-level report. It was always envisaged that there would be more detailed implementation plans. And so I'm very grateful for the support that we will have ongoing to implement it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Barrett.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning. This morning I'll provide a brief update on Operation ARCS and then provide some broader commentary. Yesterday, a Bonnyrigg man was charged with allegedly committing a terrorist attack at Bondi Beach, where 15 people were lethally shot and 49 were injured on December 14, 2025. He has been charged with 59 offences, including 1 count of commit terrorist act, 15 counts of murder, 40 counts of cause wounding, grievous bodily harm to person with intent to murder. In the coming days, the New South Wales Joint Counter-Terrorism Team will execute further search warrants to support our investigation. There is a lot of material to be examined, and the AFP continues to work with both domestic and international partners to build a more complete picture of the movements and who the alleged offenders had contact with, both in Australia and offshore. I can also reveal the AFP has ongoing investigations into people who have been described as hate preachers. These individuals who spew hatred and cause fear are on my radar, and I have had the Counter-Terrorism and Special Investigations Command reviewing information and other material in relation to these individuals since I became the Commissioner. I would now like to make some broader comments. I've just returned from Sydney, where the weight of grief hangs heavy because hatred and violence struck a peaceful and loving Jewish community. Every day we see the beautiful and joyful faces now lost, and in them we see our own loved ones. Today is the funeral of little Matilda. She was so young, she was so innocent, and my heart is so heavy for her family. I offer my sincere and heartfelt condolences to the families who are mourning and who continue to bury loved ones. One funeral is one too many, but the reality of this cruel attack is that some families will attend more than one. I want to reiterate this today. As AFP Commissioner, I say to Jewish Australians, you do not share this grief alone. I will share the weight of this unfortunate grief with you, not just as a police officer who is dedicated to protecting and serving our country, but also as a wife, as a mother, a sister and a daughter. The AFP is resolutely determined to protect Australians. We will be visible and we will use all of our resources and capabilities to identify and target those who want to do us harm. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister Burke.
Thanks, Prime Minister, and thanks to Gillian Segal, who I've been working closely with throughout her appointment, and to Commissioner Barrett for the extraordinary work that she's doing. In addition to the work that we have already been doing, the Prime Minister's announcements today take Australia into new legal territory, creating new offences that have never before existed in Australia. The areas that we'd already legislated on, hate crimes, hate speech, hate symbols, the Prime Minister's made references to where penalties would be increased and aggravated offences would be involved. But for too long, there have been two sorts of occasions where people have gone right to the limits of the law but have managed to stay on the legal side of it. There have been organisations which any Australian would look at and say their behaviour, their philosophy and what they are trying to do is about division and has no place in Australia. And yet for a generation, no government has been able to successfully take action against them because they have fallen just below the legal threshold. Today we're announcing that we're shifting the threshold. We have no time for organisations where their mission is to hate Australia and to hate fellow Australians. Secondly, there have been individuals who have managed to exploit a nation that had different principles of freedom of speech and have gone right to the limits of language that is clearly dehumanising, unacceptable, having no place in Australia, but have not quite crossed the threshold to violence. We all know the gateway to violence that sort of language provides. They haven't met the legal threshold to date in many occasions, notwithstanding the work that the Commissioner and the Australian Federal Police continue to do. So we're announcing that we're working on the legislation now to lower those thresholds. Australia is a good country. People have a right to be safe and to feel safe. And those who hate Australia will have new legal consequences that will change the sense of what it is to be safe in this country.
Children aren't born anti-Semitic. Children aren't born racist. Children aren't born with hate in their hearts. This is something that's taught. This is something that's learnt. There's lots of things that we need to do to tackle and weed out anti-Semitism, but what we do in education is an important part of that, in preventing it, in tackling it, in responding to it. And that includes work that we do right across the system, from early education to our schools right through to universities. In our schools, it includes teacher training and the work that is being led by the Special Envoy with the support of UNESCO, but also with the support of my department and the support of the states and territories, rolling out teacher training from the start of next year. But in addition to that, extra resources for teachers, more investment in the sort of programs that we know that work in schools, like Together for Humanity, that's run by Rabbi Zalman Castell, a dear friend of mine, and I know Tony's and all of us, but also the work that we can do on the national curriculum. The curriculum already has in it Holocaust education, but there is more that we can do here to make sure that we embed in it an understanding of the evils of anti-Semitism, of the horrors of the Holocaust, and the importance of Australian values. In addition to that, there's more work we can do in universities as well. The fact is, Jewish students have been made to feel unwelcome on campus, and there are important things that we have already done, like for the first time ever establishing a national student ombudsman. And from next year, the Special Envoy report card work will commence. And as I announced back in September, next year we'll introduce legislation to increase the powers and the penalties available to the tertiary education regulator to enable them to act where universities don't. But in addition to that, we're announcing today the establishment of an anti-Semitism education task force to be chaired by David Gonski. And that will also include the Special Envoy, Gillian Siegel. It will include the states and the territories, as well as the key regulators in education, in early education, in school education and in higher education that report to me. David Gonski is a towering Australian. He understands the education system inside and out, and I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart for agreeing to chair this task force, and it will meet for the first time tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I have to take questions, yeah. And then we'll go there and there.
Around hate speech and hate preachers long predate this horrific terror attack on Sunday. People reading right now might reasonably ask why these changes to the threshold around the laws have taken so long, and do you take some responsibility for that?
We are the first government to legislate on hate speech. We did that, we've outlawed Nazi symbols. What we know is that there's more that we can do. So, for example, the discussion which we're announcing today, develop a regime for listing organisations whose leaders engage in hate speech, promoting violence or racial hatred. The idea there is that you'll have a different threshold from declaration about terrorist organisations, and we've worked through that. This will require complex legal work as well from the Department of Home Affairs and the Department of Attorney General as well.
Prime Minister, can I ask in the context too of Matilda's funeral being held in just a few minutes? On top of the action you've announced there, is there a part of you that regrets not acting earlier with more strength and conviction to try and do more earlier? And for the pain that Jewish Australians and all Australians are feeling right now, do you apologise for that?
Look, my heart goes out to Jewish Australians. Is there more that can be done? There is always more that can be done. Always. And quite clearly, there's more to do. And on top of these announcements, there'll be more to do as well. What we have been doing is working through the report of the Special Envoy, implementing a range of measures, but always indicating there will be more to do. And I indicate here as well, there will be more to do to stamp this out. Here.
Just on the hate speech, when your government was looking at hate speech laws last year, was initially looking at a vilification element, which you just announced today, and the government decided against that. At the time, the Executive Council of Australian Jewry did say that the laws can go far enough. So I guess, should you have put these in place a year ago when it was on the table, and is this the main thing that's changed to get you to take that action?
Let's start with the context that for about a decade, the main argument that was happening in Australia was about weakening hate speech laws. And that was a debate that was happening in this building. This government, under Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, has been strengthening hate speech laws. Going the next step, in the reference you're referring to, was effectively a proposal of mimicking the WA legislation. You need to remember the heads of power here are complex. This is not simple drafting. And when that amendment was proposed directly on the floor, I was the person who responded to it and referred to the willingness for the government to look at it, but the fact that the drafting as it was put was not something that we were going to be able to accept, and we certainly were not going to do anything to delay the legislation that was in front of us right then, which was to have the toughest laws on hate speech Australia had ever had. The direction now is very much to continue on that pathway. And I think all Australians, when they look at some of these comments they've seen online, no one sees that and sees freedom of speech. They think it's unacceptable. And the people who were arguing about freedom of speech and the need to weaken our laws 10 years ago have gone very silent on that point now. And I'm glad that Australia is at a point that, yes, it would have been great to be here 20 years ago. The decision now has been made and Australia will be the better for it.
Here, we'll go along there.
When the terrorist threat level was raised in August last year, Mike Burgess said the threats are becoming harder to predict and identify. The drivers of radicalisation, rebels and extremism are growing, interacting in ways we've not seen before. If that's the case, should ASIO and the AFP have received more resourcing at that time? And if I could ask Commissioner Barrett, do you need more resourcing to adequately staff up your CT operations?
Well, I'll make this point. ASIO has never had more funding than they have today under my government, and we have provided for each of the security agencies, including the ones that you mentioned, the AFP, ASIO, but also the Australian Signals Directorate that deal with some of this online and cyber issues as well, have never had more funding than they have today. And every single request from a security agency has been granted by my government.
Thank you. As you've said, the Director General and I, both of us, have been on the record many times, particularly over the last 2 years, in relation to the operating environment, how much it has changed, how quickly it has changed, and how complex it is. For us, that means we are constantly assessing, reassessing, and prioritising where we put our resources and what we put our resources to. That is very similar to all of my colleagues around the world in law enforcement at the moment. We are all faced with increasingly complex environments where that constant reprioritisation. And where I do need more resources, I do and will have those conversations with government. Sorry?
Was the CT downgraded? Was it adequately funded given the espionage workload?
We would never downgrade CT. It is far too important and far higher priority for the AFP.
Chloe? And then here. So. Look, these are quite complex to make sure as well that they stack up in any legal challenge to them. So we are open to that, but we want to make sure that we get it right. We want to also consult to make sure that there is broad support across the Parliament for this. One of the tenets of anti-Semitism, the envoys have said across the board, needs to be to put it above politics as well, and we're hoping that that's achieved.
Is the Special Envoy's report the recommendations being adopted in full by the government, including things like funding questions for cultural organisations needing monitoring, and will the definition of anti-Semitism be legislated?
Here is the report. We are fully supporting and adopting the report. Included in that, cultural institutions, we've funded $18 million for the Jewish art sector.
All right, guys, so I just wanted to catch some of this. They're taking questions right now in Australia, but I wanted to just let you hear what Prime Minister Albanese and other Australian officials had to say. They seem to be talking about some new proposed laws about hate speech and organizations that promote hate speech. I don't know all the details of this, but that is not the topic of this stream, but that was happening, so I want to give you some coverage of that. But we're going to transition over right now to covering President Trump's announcement, President Trump's speech coming up, his address to the nation in a little over an hour. We want to take your comments and questions and talk about his address to the nation as we look at a We're going to be looking at a live shot from the White House in a second. Hold on. Give me a moment here. Live, the White House. There, we have a live shot of the White House. There you go. So we want to take your comments and questions, talk about this address coming up, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you, by the way, to The Gump, who is from Australia. The Gump says, this was the first mass shooting of its type in 30 years. Americans, you don't get to lecture us. We know what we are doing. That's what The Gump said. Hey, thanks, by the way, to The Gump and also Nikos Kastianis, who thinks what the officials were saying looks weak to their country. Thanks, Granite Man, Joe9611, Tim C. Thank you. Also, Subliminal Peeny, and also thank you to, hold on a second here. Again, The Gump, Australia, thank you. And I want to thank all of our moderators who are here right now as we await President Trump's address to the nation. We have Leslie Ladyhawk there moderating. Roberts May Queen, thank you for moderating over there. And Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Give me a sec here. I got to get a little better organized here. We have our Twitch moderators as well. 13 Alamo, LB Prairie on Idaho Star, and Matthew Kohai 3. Thank you. Also, thanks to Persisting Anomalies for subscribing and on Twitch. And thanks to our Facebook mods, too. We have Paul Anderson is moderating. Thanks, Paul. And thanks, Christy Claff, for subscribing. Margaret Riley moderating. Thanks to all of our moderators. President Trump, some of our viewers have said, what is he going to speak about? Well, I don't know exactly what he's going to speak about. I can tell you this. The White House press secretary has said that President Trump is going to talk about his accomplishments, and that he might talk about some things to come in the future. We don't know. We'll have to see. Some of our viewers say war. You know, I will say this. I don't know what he's going to talk about tonight, but for, I want to say, months now, I have seen constant posts online saying, today's the day the war against Venezuela starts. Tonight's the night that the war against Venezuela starts. I've seen this again and again and again from these various online accounts, online social media accounts. And once again today, that's happening a lot. I've seen no reporting that that's actually going to happen. If it does, we'll certainly talk about it. But I haven't seen any kind of report I would consider reliable that President Trump is going to announce some kind of war tonight. But you never know what he's going to say, so we'll have to see what he says. Lithrone says, yeah, it's been constant. Oh, thanks to Candy Los for the memberships. I appreciate that. Candy Los, thank you so much. Make sure you thank somebody if you get a gift sub or a gift membership from them. All right, so we want to talk to you guys, talk about what's to come. What's President Trump going to talk about? What do you think? Hey, thanks The Gump, our member. Thanks Jack MCK, our member, who says he'll probably talk about the big, beautiful ballroom. I don't know if he'll talk about the ballroom. I mean, look, it has been reported that President Trump, it has been widely reported that President Trump is going to be focusing on the economy in coming months. So I certainly would expect him to talk about the economy. Hang on a moment here. Give me one moment. How much he's going to talk about Venezuela, I don't know. It's a good question. Let's show you something here. Maybe he'll announce something that none of us is expecting. Hey, so look at this from Reuters here. Check this out. In primetime speech, Trump to highlight victories amid low economic approval, says Reuters. Oh, Dolores Wilbeck says distraction from Epstein files. The deadline to release the Epstein files, I believe, is Friday. I don't know what's going to happen with that. You can see here, Reuters says President Trump will deliver a rare evening address from the White House tonight about his first year back in office, focusing on what he sees as big victories, even as Americans worry about the economy and Republicans face tough midterm elections in 2026, says Reuters. The president, who regularly complains he does not get enough credit for his accomplishments, is expected to tout his administration's work this year on a range of issues, from reducing border crossings to bringing down prices of some goods. Trump told reporters today, "The message this evening is, we inherited a mess and we've done a great job and we continue to. And our country is going to be stronger than ever before." That's what he says his message is going to be. White House spokesperson Carolyn Leavitt told reporters that he may tease policy moves that are likely to come next year, too. The address, scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern Time in prime time for TV viewers, is an opportunity for the president, if he stays on message, to address people's concerns about affordability, an issue that Trump, a Republican, has repeatedly referred to as a Democratic hoax. A new Reuters Ipsos poll on Tuesday showed just 33% of U.S. adults approve of how Trump has handled the economy. Trump's remarks, set to take place in the White House's diplomatic reception room and not the Oval Office, as presidential addresses often do, may be a rehash of sorts of a speech he gave in Pennsylvania last week that touched on affordability but also veered into other familiar hits from Trump's rallies, such as transgender rights, Somali migrants in Minnesota, and wind turbines. Foreign policy could also feature in the address, says Reuters. They say Trump, who has highlighted his work to end multiple conflicts abroad, yesterday ordered a, quote, blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela, and has repeatedly hinted that the U.S. could take action on Venezuelan soil as part of a U.S. efforts to stop illegal drug smuggling. Venezuela's government called Trump's latest move a grotesque threat. So, we'll have to see what he talks about. What do you guys think? I want to read some of your comments here about what you think is going to happen. One of our viewers says he won't fully legalize. Ryan 1. So there's reporting that he's going to reclassify marijuana. Maybe tomorrow. I've seen that. I don't know if he'll talk about that. Ryan 1 says, read War and Winning. Let me show you something about that. Hang on. One moment here. One moment here. Here. Trump expected to address potential easing of marijuana regulations tomorrow. Someone tell Steve about Dan Bongino. Yeah, I posted about 2 hours ago on my X account about Dan Bongino. We also reported it on our previous stream that Deputy Director Dan Bongino of the FBI announced he's leaving the FBI in January. I recommend, if you're interested, if you're on X, follow me on X for breaking news updates at Lookner on X. Let's see here. President Trump is expected to address the potential loosening of federal regulations on marijuana tomorrow according to a White House official, setting up a decision that could sharply reverse decades of U.S. drug policy, says Reuters. Trump said Monday he was considering an executive order to reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug, a decision that could reshape the cannabis industry, ease criminal penalties, and unlock billions in research funding. Such a shift would represent one of the most significant federal changes to marijuana policy in decades, reducing oversight to the level of common prescription drugs and potentially opening doors long closed to banks and investors. The precise contents of Trump's potential order on marijuana were not immediately clear. A Trump administration said, while Trump is currently expected to address marijuana rescheduling tomorrow, any details of this potential action, until officially announced by the White House, are speculation. We'll have to see what happens. Under the U.S. Controlled Substances Act, marijuana is listed as a Schedule I substance like heroin, ecstasy, and peyote. That classification indicates it has a high potential for abuse and no currently accepted medical use. Local authorities often impose more lax regulations over weed, allowing medical or recreational use. Trump told reporters in the Oval Office on Monday he was looking at pushing for weed to be reclassified under Schedule III, alongside Tylenol mixed with codeine, ketamine, and testosterone. I'd like to tell you a little more about what Schedule III reclassification would entail for marijuana. Hang on a second here. Now, I don't know if he'll talk about this tonight. It says there he's supposed to talk about it tomorrow. Hang on. One second. The Washington Post said, I'm going to show you the White House, a live shot of the White House right now. Here's the White House. Oops. The Washington Post said that, let's see here. President Trump is expected to push the government to dramatically loosen federal restrictions on marijuana. Supposedly this might be tomorrow, reducing oversight of the plant and its derivatives to the same level as some common prescription painkillers and other drugs. The move would not legalize or decriminalize marijuana, but it would ease barriers to research and boost the bottom lines of businesses. Let's see here. There was, that doesn't really help you understand it, though. I will say this. There was an article I was looking at which talked about it yesterday, about reclassifying marijuana. I don't want to get too hung up on this. But, for example, CBS News said that reclassifying marijuana to Schedule III would allow businesses to deduct standard operating expenses. For example, that's one thing it would do. CBS News also reported that it could legitimize medical cannabis and bring it into mainstream healthcare. Anyways, that's again, the reporting suggests that he might talk about this tomorrow, so I don't want to get hung up on this, but I did want to mention it. Let's see. What do you guys think he is going to talk about? I want to take some of your comments. Joss, by the way, our Joss Sauce says, I live in a legal marijuana state, but still having these federal restrictions is absurd. Our viewer, Newer Anarchist, says huge implications in Schedule 3. If we actually do a stream on that, we'll get into the more details on that. Jamor Gamami says Venezuela. Evelyn in Maine thought if President Trump announces that about marijuana, it could open the door for Medicare pilot programs to cover CBD for seniors. I know nothing about that. CPPC Tech thought it would only impact and help businesses. It does nothing for consumers. Pugs Bella thinks tonight will be a recap of year 1. Jomo says he will talk about how tremendous he is. Hang on a second here. Sophie says Venezuela. We should talk a little bit Venezuela. Let's talk some about Venezuela. Give me a moment here. Give me a moment here. Going to bring you live coverage. Oh, by the way, this is interesting. So the Washington Post has an article on Trump's speech. Trump attempts domestic reset with White House address Wednesday evening. President Trump will deliver a televised speech tonight that is expected to focus heavily on the economy, in effort to reverse declining public opinion numbers and the view, even among some supporters, he has not lived up to some key campaign promises. They say Trump is not expected to make major new policy announcements during the 9 p.m. address, but two individuals a White House official and a person close to the White House, cautioned that Trump could change his mind ahead of the address. Trump said today, I think the message this evening is we inherited a mess, and we've done a great job, and we continue to, and our country is going to be stronger than ever before very soon. Throughout the day, speculation mounted about whether President Trump would address the possibility of war with Venezuela after Trump yesterday made a dramatic escalation in his months-long pressure campaign against the government of President Nicolas Maduro. Trump yesterday ordered a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving the country, declared the Venezuelan regime a foreign terrorist organization. Well, he didn't do that yesterday. He'd done that before, I believe, and accused government officials of using oil to enrich themselves and finance drug trafficking. On Tuesday, the White House press secretary Carolyn Leavitt said Trump would discuss all that he's done to bring our country back to greatness and all he continues to plan to do to continue delivering for the American people over the next 3 years. Two senior White House officials told the Washington Post that Trump, as a result of growing discontent over the economy, is expected to hold near-weekly rallies in the new year after holding few since his victory in November 2024. The increase in domestic travel in part reflects an effort to reconnect with his base of loyal supporters, some of whom believe Trump has lost sight of the reason they elected him, which many in MAGA say was to boost working-class Americans and be relentless in his pledge of mass deportations. Last week, he spoke in Pennsylvania about affordability, although he veered off course for much of the speech, says the Post, and again mocked the word affordability. The president is going to hold a rally on Friday night in North Carolina. We might cover that. This is also interesting. I'll take some comments from you guys. Well, I just want to mention this. Among other recent issues dogging the White House was the Tuesday publication of an interview with Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, a normally tight-lipped advisor who was quoted reflecting critically on some of the administration's policies, including its approach to deportations, the Attorney General's handling of the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, and Trump's occasional efforts to punish his enemies. All right, so I want to hear from you guys. What are you thinking about the speech to come? In about 44 minutes, we're going to have it live. CMM says, how long until he announces it? Do you mean announces some kind of military action against Venezuela? Is that what you're saying? One of our viewers says, Naked Grandma says B-52 bombers on the way awaiting the order. Now, this is pretty common, guys. Just so you know, if you check out Flight Radar 24, you can see a U.S. Navy aircraft, a Growler aircraft, flying off the coast of Venezuela. Looks like a couple of 100 miles off the coast. It is quite common over the last couple months to see on radar American aircraft flying near Venezuela. This is an electronic warfare aircraft that can jam enemy radars and disrupt communications, for example. So there's that one, and then there's another one here a lot of people are tracking. Oh, I guess there's two Growlers, it looks like. Although I only see one. But it looks like people are tracking two different Growler aircraft. Anyways, that's on Flight Radar 24. Hey, thanks so much to AZ Intel's dad. Thank you. Rick Iser. Thanks, Rick. Thank you, Rick. Also, Read the Freaking Comics thinks Trump is going to lie for an hour. Wow. Thank you, Read the Freaking Comics. Thanks also Samuel DeMarco, who mentioned the Growler aircraft. Thank you, Samuel. And Aaron McCune, thank you. Aaron McCune, thank you. Rick said the accounts they announced today I'm interested in. What do you mean? Rick, there's different ways I could take that. Are you talking about, as I said, there are various social media accounts claiming that Trump is going to announce a war tonight, but as I've been saying, there have been accounts on social media announcing that for months, and it hasn't happened. Oh, thank you to Fleshernet says zoom in to see the aircraft. Oh, there you go. Fleshernet was right. Thank you. Thanks so much. There you go. Now I can see them both. Thank you. There they are. The two Growler electronic warfare aircraft. But I do want to emphasize that American planes have been flying near Venezuela for months now on radar and publicly visible on Flight Radar 24, for example. You can see this from Wikipedia. The Boeing EA-18 Growler is an American carrier-based electronic warfare aircraft. Carrier-based electronic warfare aircraft. Oh, Sean thinks President Trump is going to give Maduro an ultimatum. Wow. Yeah, it says EA-18G Growler. This is, I believe this is a government site right here. This is navair.navy.military. EA-18G Growler. Primary function airborne electronic attack, it says. I was trying to look for more specifics there. Oh, the Australian government has a site about it. Australian government. And they say it is an aircraft capable of disrupting, deceiving, or denying a broad range of military electronic systems, including radars and communications. Jaw Saw says it's a jet that disrupts communications. Are they coming from the aircraft carrier, Marcus said? Well, it sounds like one of the articles said they're carrier-based, so I would assume they're coming from the carriers if they're carrier-based. Hey, here's what I want to do. So we have 37 minutes until this broadcast. We're going to bring you live President Trump's speech. We're going to talk about his speech after. We're going to take your comments on the air. By the way, thank you, Mitchell Pilot. Mitchell Pilot says, my hunch tells me we're not going to announce some kind of war with Venezuela tonight. Could be wrong, but Tucker Carlson is not a credible source. I saw some posts about Tucker Carlson. I didn't watch what he said myself. For example, CNN said Tucker Carlson was talking on an online show, and he said that he claimed that members of Congress were briefed that a war with Venezuela is coming and Trump will announce it tonight. I don't know if that's true. Thank you, Mitchell Pilot. Also, Sean C. and Weaselman, our member, and All That's Random, our member. And CC, thanks for the gift sub on Twitch, CC, and Spiritus. Thanks for subscribing on Twitch. Persisting Anomalies, thanks for subscribing. Here's what we're going to do. So this is a sponsored broadcast. I really appreciate our sponsor, Gold Safe Exchange. Let's hear a quick word from me about our sponsor, and then after that, we're going to talk more, take your comments, and then watch President Trump's speech. So hang on 1 second for this short word about our sponsor, Gold Safe Exchange. You know, a number of people these days are investing in gold, silver, and other precious metals as a way of diversifying their portfolio. If you're interested in purchasing some precious metals, one way you can do that is with a precious metals IRA. This is an IRS-approved type of IRA in which your savings are invested into gold or other precious metals. If that kind of thing sounds interesting to you, if you want to know more, you can reach out to the folks at Gold Safe Exchange. They specialize in gold IRAs and other precious metals IRAs. Gold Safe Exchange puts a priority on customer service and transparency. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They have a price match guarantee. If you find a lower quote, they'll beat it. And they explain their processes in clear language so their clients know what's happening with their money. Also, they abide by all government security and safety standards. So if you're even a little interested in opening a gold IRA or other precious metals IRA, call Gold Safe Exchange at 800-341-6727 for a no-pressure chat. Or visit them on the web at goldsafeexchange.com/agenda-free. And mention Agenda-Free TV when you reach out to access a special offer where you could get free gold or silver with qualifying purchases. Hey, where's the White House picture? I wanted to show you the White House picture. Oh, here it is. There we go. No, that's the web. There we go. There's the White House picture. Hey, it's live at the White House. Look, 34 minutes and 32 seconds until President Trump addresses the nation. You know, the reporting on this has suggested that he's not supposed to, not expected to announce any major policy initiatives, but who knows? Maybe we'll do a profile. Let's do a poll that says, will there be any big surprises? How about that? I mean, that's kind of it's not very specific. Will the speech have any big surprises? Define big surprises as you will. All right, I just posted the poll on YouTube. I'm posting it on Twitch right now. I'm going to try to post it on Facebook, but Facebook polls have been broken for months, so they probably won't work. Okay. Okay, I just posted it on Twitch. Let me just post it on Facebook, and then I'll show you what you guys are saying about this question. Hang on. Polls. Facebook, I'm trying for you. I really am. It says it's active. Yeah, it's still broken. It's still not working. Still not working on Facebook. They still haven't fixed it. All right. In the meantime, here is what you guys said about what's going to happen, whether there's going to be any big surprises. So, I asked you. YouTube says, oops, you can't see it. You can't see what you said. So let's try this again. YouTube viewers said, let's try this again. Let's try this again. Wow, YouTube is divided. 52% say big surprise. There'll be at least one big surprise. 48% says no. And let's see on Twitch what they have to say about all this. Uh-oh, what just happened here? Okay. Twitch says 60% say yes. All right. So 52% on YouTube say yes. 63% on Twitch say yes. We'll have to see. Woe Story says 7 days before Christmas, and there's no doubt this is for war? Hey, thanks for voting in our poll. Thanks also to CC on Twitch and Sealy W on Twitch, and Toolman Tim for the gift sub on Twitch, and Diet Ginger Dale on Twitch. Jaycon, thank you on Twitch for your support. Spiritus, thank you. Thanks for voting in our poll, everybody. All right. We'll see what happens. You know what I was wondering today? I was wondering, I feel like when these presidential addresses happen, we sometimes have a debate about this. Is it going to be live? Or, I feel like sometimes when these presidential addresses happen, we watch it and then we're like, wait, was that live or not? Or will they record it beforehand? I genuinely don't know. That's a whole other question. It doesn't have to be live. They could record it and just show it at 9. I assume it's live. Spursy says definitely live. Some of our viewers are saying AI. David says, I assume it'll be live. One of our viewers said if it's on time, it's probably pre-recorded. A couple of our viewers said that. Lauren Detroit said that. A lot of interest tonight in this speech. Let me see if there's any reporting on it that we're getting in the minutes before the speech. Any new reporting? By the way, the Wall Street Journal has an article today. See if I can show you something about this. This is kind of interesting. I don't know that he'll talk about this tonight. Here, look. Here, look at this. Lawyer tells Trump the Constitution is unclear on third term, according to the Wall Street Journal. This is a Reuters article about what the Wall Street Journal reported. President Trump discussed a draft copy of a book by lawyer Alan Dershowitz that examines whether Trump could constitutionally serve a third term as president, the Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday. Trump's flirtation with the idea of a third term has alarmed opponents and constitutional experts who say it would test the 22nd Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which Congress approved after Franklin Roosevelt was elected 4 times. The 22nd Amendment states in part that no person shall be elected to the office of president more than twice. But Dershowitz said he told Trump on Tuesday that the Constitution was not clear on the issue. He said that during an Oval Office meeting, he handed Trump a draft of the book called Could President Trump Constitutionally Serve a Third Term? That's the title of his book. The book to be published next year by Alan Dershowitz lays out various scenarios in which an individual could serve a third term, Dershowitz said. He said Trump told him that he planned to read the book and asked him for his conclusions about a third term. He found it interesting as an intellectual issue, Dershowitz told the Wall Street Journal. Do I think he's going to run for a third term? No, I don't think he will run for a third term. Trump said in October he would not pursue a third term, in what was a marked shift after months of teasing the idea of testing the Constitution's language on the topic. Trump said in October, if you read it, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad, but we have a lot of great people. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles said in a Vanity Fair interview published this week that Trump knows he can't run again. Maybe all of this is just to publicize the book. I don't know. But figured I'd mention that. Okay. I don't know that he's going to speak about that tonight. Let's see here. All right, we're bringing you live coverage. Oh my gosh, 26 minutes and 49 seconds. Wow. 26 minutes and 49 seconds. We got the live shot of the White House. Hold on. Live shot of the White House for you. We're going to be bringing you live coverage of this address to the nation. Yeah, I guess a Blue Snake Jake says, good job helping the free advertising. I guess maybe I did. Hey, thanks, Sir Pepe and the Crooked Menagerie, who says either a holiday message, midterm message, or we are now at war with Venezuela. Again, lots of reporting says he's going to talk about achievements of his term so far. And President Trump himself actually said today, what did he say? He said, I think the message this evening is we inherited a mess and we've done a great job and we continue to, and our country is going to be stronger than ever before really soon, very soon. That's what he said. Let's see here. Hold on a moment. Here's something that AP reported on this speech. Trump to lay out his 2026 plans for the country during live speech from the White House. What's he going to talk about regarding next year? President Trump intends to discuss his achievements and preview his agenda for next year and beyond in a live speech from the White House tonight. His remarks are coming at a crucial time as he tries to rebuild his steadily eroding popularity, claims AP. The White House has offered few details about what he will say, about what he will emphasize. Public polling shows most U.S. adults are frustrated with his handling of the economy as inflation picked up after his tariffs raised prices and hiring slowed. We'll have to see. What do you guys think? Hot Spaghetti says if it's live, he'll be at least an hour late. I think it's going to start on time. Thank you, 5 Celts, our member. Fawn Spy says, all I want to hear is that we're getting our $2,000 check. Mitchell Pilot, thanks Mitchell Pilot, who says, have we heard any countries advising citizens in Venezuela to evacuate, any embassy evacuations? I haven't heard anything like that recently, Mitchell Pilot. I don't know if it's happening. I haven't heard anything about it like that recently. Wally says, war for the USA. What is going to happen? Is he going to make some surprise announcement? You never know with President Trump. I mean, speculation about U.S. military action against Venezuela has been going on for weeks and weeks now. Breaking news! Another boat strike! Another boat strike by the U.S. on an alleged drug boat. Breaking news. It just came out now. Look at this. Ooh, you'll see it in a second. U.S. Southern Command. Today, at the direction of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel operated by a designated terrorist organization in international waters. Intelligence confirmed that the vessel was transiting along a known narco-trafficking route in the Eastern Pacific and was engaged in narco-trafficking operations. A total of 4 male narco-terrorists were killed and no U.S. military forces were harmed. I believe this is around 26 boats and destroyed and about 100 people killed. There is a lot of controversy over these strikes, whether they're legal or not. And for example, and also, there's the first strike on September 2nd apparently had a second strike that killed a couple of survivors of the first strike. And there's been this whole thing about whether the Department of Defense would let all members of Congress see it or let members of the public see it. That has not happened so far. Some members of Congress have seen it. And whether that in itself was a violation of international law. So a lot of controversy over these strikes, but they continue. And this is a new one that was just announced. It was just announced. That was announced 10 minutes ago. Just Rhonda says, I have no problem celebrating the destruction of any drugs coming into my country. Meanwhile, our viewer says, FKHY says, so boat in water is death sentence, got it. Thank you, ZB the Great, for your support. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Paul M. thinks Trump tonight will announce war with Venezuela. Dev Eats Glue thinks that just saved thousands of Americans from overdose. Meanwhile, Smokey says, so sad, too much killing. KNVKL says, drug trafficking is not terrorism. A Video Man says, sadly true, the war on drugs is never ending. Max Dayton says, heroic win for the US and A. Dean Sparks says, due process no longer exists. Cool. Anyways, I wanted to let you know about that. That was just announced a short while ago. I think it was a few days ago they announced 3 new strikes. Uh, 19 minutes. Oh my gosh, guys. 19 minutes. Let's look at a live shot from the White House. Wow. President Trump addressing the nation. We're going to cover it live for you. Oops, hang on a moment here. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. What do you think is happening? We're taking your comments on the air. After this speech, we're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it with you. We're going to see what you thought. Maybe, will there be any kind of big announcement for us to discuss? Beats me. I just don't know. Michael Lauzone says, I will laugh my blank off. Wow. To repeat, a number of people sending me messages from online accounts, random online accounts claiming that war is imminent. And I'll just say again, there have been online accounts claiming that tonight is the night or today is the day for weeks and weeks and weeks now. I've seen it again and again and again. Flight Radar 24 shows 2 electronic warfare aircraft from the Navy, U.S., flying off the coast of Venezuela. It has been a common sight to see U.S. aircraft flying near Venezuela in the last couple months. Just Rhonda thinks war is not imminent. What I didn't check. Yeah, I couldn't even see the... Once again, I couldn't, and I tried having the poll on Facebook and I couldn't see the results once again because they haven't fixed it. Hey, shout out to our moderators who are here as we wait for President Trump to speak. 16 minutes and 24 seconds. Oh my gosh. Thank you to our moderators. We have Roberts May Queen. Thank you, Roberts May Queen, for moderating over there on YouTube. We have moderating here, Margaret Riley on Facebook. Thank you, Margaret. Thanks also to, by the way, our viewer Kim Bragdon says, I need a drink. Thanks to 13 Alamo, Big Ball of Yarn, DeBears, LB Prairie Dawn, Idaho Star, J. Joanded, Matthew Kohai 3, Papa Bear, all moderating on Twitch. Big thanks, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha over there on X. It's possible, I don't know if this is going to happen. It's possible I'll get some video of the room early. That would be great, but I don't know. He's not speaking in the Oval Office. He's speaking in a different room tonight. So maybe we'll get some, I don't know if it's going to be like that they show the podium for a few minutes and then he walks in. I mean, I'll keep an eye out. As soon as I have anything to show you, I will. History Now says, I think a declaration of war on Venezuela. Who else will be there, says Matt Stachelek. I don't know if anybody else will be there. It's a good question. We'll see. The mayor, he's supposed to maybe make a marijuana announcement tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to make that today. The reporting I've seen is that it's going to be a classification to Schedule 3, a reclassification, not a full legalization at the federal level. But the reporting suggests, at least the reporting I've seen, I showed you a report earlier that said it's supposed to happen maybe tomorrow. Thank you, Ronnie Vons, who thinks it feels odd for him to give an address unless it's related to Venezuela. State of the Union is just around the corner. The State of the Union, is there a date yet for it? I forget if there's a date. Late January or early February 2026. Oh, hey guys, guess what I have? Hold on a second. I can show you this. So I have access via Reuters to the pool. Ooh, here's what I'm going to show you. Hold on. Let me get something on the screen for you. Let me get something on the screen for you. One moment. This is kind of exciting. Look at this. We got beep. We got a beep. We got a tone. I'm going to turn off the tone. Turn off the tone. It says news pool. Now I can show you this because I get it through Reuters. So, but you can see it says presidential remarks, NBC News pool primary. Wow. Whoa, it's getting real. Stuff is getting real right now. Thank you, Ronnie Vons. Let's see. It's getting real. Too Old to Care says, we do have a cool seal. Now, the White House on their social media is not live yet. I'm hoping that this becomes the room before actually the speech, but we'll have to see. D's N thinks he'll be max 6 or 7 minutes late. You know, it is interesting. Like it's up to him. You don't have to do a speech like this when he's doing it. He's not following some rule in doing the speech. He certainly made the choice to do this speech. So I think it's a fair point. Like, well, why is he doing it? Certainly it's possible he wants to talk about the economy. He said today, I'll just read you the quote again that he said today. I'll read you the quote again. He said today, hold on. He said today, he said today, the message this evening is we inherited a mess. And we've done a great job, and we continue to, and our country is going to be stronger than ever before. Would you guys prefer I show you the live shot of the lighthouse or the NBC News pool presidential remarks graphic? I can show you either. Let's see what people say. I don't know if people are going to care. They're both live. They're both live shots. They're both live. I don't have the podium yet. Why don't we switch back? We'll switch back to the live White House shot. Then if this becomes the podium, I'll switch it to that. So let's throw up the White House there. There's the White House. Okay. There's the White House. Guys, we now have less than 10 minutes until President Trump addresses the nation. Wow. What is he going to talk about? Is there going to be any big surprises? What do you guys think? Let's see. Our viewer, I dislike deplorables, says Trump doesn't have the authority. What happened to civics classes? You mean to declare war? Thank you, Green Dragon, for your support. Quick thanks so much to Mosh Miri. Mosh Miri, thanks so much. Mosh says, do you want to stop the drug problem? Deal with the demand. These folks are carrying cocaine, not fentanyl. That's what Mosh Miri 51 says. Thanks, Mosh Miri, for your support. Thanks also, Green Dragon. Glue Taster. Glue Taster says, if we were striking, the airspace would be clear. Thank you, FlesherNet. And also ZB the Great and Calculon. Some of our viewers claim he's going to talk about aliens. Just to show you, because people are mentioning it sometimes, here is, there are three, our viewer, was it FlesherNet, mentioned there's now a third U.S. aircraft. I just want to emphasize this. For weeks now, actually for months, you have been able to regularly see U.S. aircraft flying near Venezuela on Flight Radar. This is Flight Radar 24. You can check it out, flightradar24.com, flight tracker, great flight tracker. So the fact that we're seeing some U.S. aircraft a couple hundred miles off the coast or whatever it is, it's not irregular for the last couple months. This is a regular occurrence. We have two electronic warfare aircraft here, Grizzly 1 and Grizzly 2, and we have here a Boeing FA-18E Super Hornet. But I do want to emphasize that this is not some kind of rare occurrence over the last couple months. And that's Venezuela there. I don't see any planes over Venezuela right now, like commercial planes or anything. But I haven't heard any kind of big new developments regarding that. So we'll have to see how things develop. Thanks for mentioning that, though. Someone just said it's aliens in the chat. The FA-18E Super Hornet is a fighter aircraft. Guys, 6.5 minutes. Oh my gosh. Maybe we're not going to get the shot of the White House, of the inside in advance. The White House itself, for what it's worth, the White House itself is live, for what it's worth. Look, we will begin shortly. Oh my gosh, we will begin shortly. Can you believe it? I'll have to pick the best feed for you. Right when it starts out, I'll see one, if one's better than the other, I'll switch to that one. I have multiple feeds. I want to get the audio off that. I think I'm going to go with the pool. Is the pool feed still playing a tone or not? I think that's the one to go with. Yeah, the pool feed is still playing a tone, but I think that's going to be the one to go with. All right, we'll figure it out for you guys. I got to keep an eye on both feeds if one starts ahead of the other. I'm kind of nervous. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, I have the pool feed right here, so we can go to that. Well, guys, we're very close. We're very close. Last time to make, you've 4 minutes and 25 seconds to make predictions in the chat. OG Ula thinks it'll start 10 minutes late. Hey, thanks to Jason Bewley. Thank you, Jason Bewley. Thank you, FlesherNet. FlesherNet, with the radar, I mean, sometimes there's a couple American planes. There's been times when there's 4 or 5 of them, so, or more. So usually, a lot of times there's a few of them flying around. I don't know what the average is, though. Thanks, Goxbirds. Goxbirds has popcorn. Jackie Morgan, our member. A. Wendy, our member. CW, thanks for the memberships. Diana Lee, thanks. All right, guys, 3 minutes and 37 seconds if this starts on time. Wow. President Trump addressing the nation from the White House. One of our viewers says we're going to war. One of our viewers says it's all about nothing. One of our viewers says, let's hope no war. Hey, thanks the real Zane Pitts. Susie May thinks it'll be 8 minutes late. All right, so the pool is there. That's the pool one. Okay, we got both streams ready for you. Okay, thank you to Marco Johnston, who thinks we're getting some serious thinky face stuff tonight. Oh my gosh, 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. The nation is watching, probably people around the world are watching, to see what President Trump has to say. One of our viewers says a lot of ado about nothing. How long will it be? It could be 10 minutes long. It could be a half an hour long. I don't think it'll be an hour long. We could have done a poll on that. Well, too late now. I'm going to say it's going to be about 13 minutes long. I'm going to write it down. My guess is 13 minutes. Maybe that's too short, but I said it. One of our viewers thinks 22 minutes. 1 hour, says a viewer. I might have radically lowballed it. A bunch of our viewers think 20-something minutes. 1 minute and a half, supposedly. Supposedly a minute and a half. Hey, thank you, Sims. Sims11, that's so... Wow, Sims11, that's so generous of you. Oh my gosh. Sims11, that is incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much. Sims11, ZDG, who says, I love Kristen. Sims11, that's really nice of you. Thank you so much. Rochelle Bertrand, thank you. Lab210, Steve Otten, thank you. Hey, guys, there is 1 minute supposedly. 1 minute supposedly. But it could start late. So don't blame me if it starts late. But according to my clock, it's now 50 seconds. Oh my, I'm watching different news channels. I don't see it on the news channels. I have the pool feed. I have the White House feed. Let's hope everything works right. But I am just as interested in you as you guys are. All right, 32, 31, 30 seconds. Let's see if will it start right on time? I don't know. We don't, again, I don't even know if it's live or recorded. I'm going to assume live. Wow, all right. 20 seconds, getting nervous here. 20 seconds. If it starts on time, it'll be in 10 seconds, but it doesn't necessarily start on time. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't see it anywhere yet. 2, 1. All right, it is 9 p.m., so I'm getting rid of the clock because we don't need the clock because the clock is counting up. Any moment now. Any moment now. Do I have time to adjust the headline? Let's say any moment Trump addresses the nation. I'm nervous. It's not anywhere yet. Hey, thanks, Sir Pepe and Sharp Boy and Death by Blood Loss. Thank you. Hey, guys, we're just waiting. We are just waiting. I got the pool feed. Pool feed's ready to go. White House feed ready to go. It's not on either of them. It's not on any of the news channels. I'm looking everywhere for it. I don't see it. We just have to wait. I am looking at 5 different things which are going to be showing it, and none is showing it yet. No, I am watching MS Now, Fox News, and CNN. None of them are showing it. The White House is not showing it. The pool isn't showing it. I don't see it anywhere. Fox News is showing something or other. No, they're showing Fox News is showing old footage of President Trump. That's not live footage on Fox News. Thank you, Zach, for your support. Zach points out that there is a... Oh, no, guys, just so you know, Rhino 51 plane on Flight Radar 24 is estimated position, it looks like. Rhino 51, the fighter jet on Flight Radar 24 is... Oh, hold on, he's starting to speak right now. Here he is.
In the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans. This happened during a Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again. We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody, crime at record levels with law enforcement, and words such as that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world. But they're not laughing anymore. Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history. There's never been anything like it, and I think most would agree. I was elected in a landslide, winning the popular vote and all 7 swing states and everything else, with a mandate to take on a sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people. For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Starting on day 1, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been allowed into our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%. We have broken the grip of sinister woke radicals in our schools, and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states where education belongs. After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, we have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East, and secured the release of the hostages, both living and dead. Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our Treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast. Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22%, and in many states, 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%. Now, under our leadership, they are all coming down and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000. Under Trump, the typical factory worker has seen a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,300. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation. Remember that. The wages, just look at it. Wages are going up much faster than inflation. How big is that? Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100% of all jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen. AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it. 1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interests to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%. In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward. And I used the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stopped ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up, but now they'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible. It's called Most Favored Nation. And no president has ever had the courage or ability to get this done until now. The first of these unprecedented price reductions will be available starting in January through a new website, TrumpRx.gov. And these big price cuts will greatly reduce the cost of health care. I'm also taking on the gigantic health insurance companies that have gotten rich on billions of dollars of money that should go directly to the people. The money should go to the people, that's you, so they can buy their own health insurance, which will give far better benefits at much lower costs. It will be far better health insurance. The current Unaffordable Care Act was created to make insurance companies rich. It was bad health care at much too high a cost. And you see that now in the steep increase in premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and they are demanding those increases, and it's their fault. It is not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Unaffordable Care Act, and everybody knew it. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health care at a much lower price. The only losers will be insurance companies that have gotten rich, and the Democrat Party, which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, but that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost. Another major focus is the cost of energy. For years, the radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically drove up prices, and they drove them up at record levels. Electricity costs surged 30 to 100% under Biden, and the typical family lost $5,000 to $10,000 in higher energy costs. Think of that, $5,000 to $10,000 you lost. On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon. And within the next 12 months, we will have opened 1,600 new electrical generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody, or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. The Democrat inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream. The yearly cost of a typical new mortgage increased by $15,000 under Democrat rule. In 11 months, we've already gotten that annual cost down by $3,000, and it's coming down a lot lower. Wait till you see. The numbers are going to be shocking. And I'll soon announce our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Early the new year, and you will see this, in the new year, I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens, 100%. In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected, and our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Soon we will host the World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
All right. So I guess that's it. Let me make sure that's the speech. Okay, that was the speech. No war announcement. No declaration of war. There was no declaration of war. All right, I got to hear, what do you guys think? What did you think? We got to check some comments from you guys. Trump addresses the nation post coverage. What did you guys think of Trump's speech? It was about 18 minutes or something? Okay, let's see. There was not. Did he even mention Venezuela? I don't know that he even talked about Venezuela. Let's see here. One of our viewers said midterm campaign speech, nothing burger. If he yells loud enough, it must be true. One of our viewers thought there were lies. One viewer says not one lie told. One viewer says straight facts. What a waste of time. A couple of viewers say waste of time. One viewer says same old, same old. One viewer says thought it was great. Again, I don't remember him mentioning Venezuela at all. I mean, it sounded like it was pretty much like saying that things were bad in the country before and they're doing really great now. He announced that I think around 1.4 million, the warrior dividend. He said that payments of $1,776 would go out to 1.4 million people, which if I can just do the math here on my calculator, that's about $2.3 billion. Now, he said the checks are getting sent out. Now, I'm actually interested. I don't know how it works. Can he just, because doesn't Congress have the power of the purse? But maybe the president has discretionary spending, but can the president just spend $2 billion just like that? No, I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I don't know if or maybe there's some kind of discretionary fund he can use. I just don't know. So I'm wondering if that's going to be an issue or not. But it's not a small amount of money, because it's 1,000 times a million is a billion, and it's $1,776 times 1.4 million, which is over $2 billion. Anyways, I'm happy. Look, I'm obviously happy if soldiers can get extra funds. Great. Soldiers serving our country. I don't know if there's going to be an issue with how this is getting, with the spending, and how that actually works legally. Let's see here. Cuts by Lisa thought it was a campaign speech. That is all. Rika says greatest president ever. Deb Markey says checks in the mail. Michael S. says it's what he did not say that was most significant. What about foreign policy? What about Epstein? What about the Charlie Kirk murder cover-up? Says Michael S. Hey, thank you, Mitchell Pilot. Mitchell Pilot, our viewer Mitchell Pilot, thank you. Mitchell Pilot says, I told you folks, all these X accounts claiming they have sources are full of it. Mitchell Pilot says, this was a weird address, like why did he do it? The warrior dividend announcement would be more fitting in his frequent Oval Office press announcements. Thank you to Patrick Tuttle, by the way. A couple of quick thank yous. Patrick Tuttle, FlesherNet, DJ Mestizo, who says no president would announce a declaration of war during an address like that. It will be from the Oval Office. DJ Mestizo says, I was expecting him to speak about THC reclassification. That'll come tomorrow. Thanks, Philip Nicholson, who thought it was presidential. Thanks, Iroquois7550. Kevin, Lewis R., thank you. Lewis R. thought it was basically the audiobook version of a Truth Social post. Thanks, Armstrong American Pride, CMS SML, Adir1, Bill Jack, Sean Ryder, User HS8, Super Oburn, Davos World, who thought he was lying a lot, Lakit Seps, Adventures with Crystal, thank you. Boomer Wow, Lisa Loves Travel, BDK86, Shaft thought it was a pre-midterm panic moment. And also Sean7729, Be Rear Beard, Lorinka, the one and only Veggie is watching. Couple more thank yous here. Lady Butterfly, Daniels M, one PVC Suite. All right, let me take some more comments also. What did you guys think of this? Let me read some more comments. Mammy Washington says, Venezuela is not worth inclusion in the address. I don't think he mentioned it at all. Sparky Pilot, thanks Sparky Pilot, who says, I think this speech is going to make his opinion polls worse. Sparky Pilot thought there were a lot of false statements made. I don't think it was, if you've watched speeches by him, a lot of the stuff felt like stuff he has said before. The content of the speech, in large part, felt like a lot of the things were just things he has said many times before. So it didn't seem like a lot of new stuff. Thank you, Knights Palace, who says best president in modern history. Kay Swan said he said drug prices will be dropping by 300, 400, 500%. 100% is the most you can go. Yeah, he has said that kind of thing before, though. One of our viewers said his usual talk. I understand the question of if he was going to give kind of the usual talk, why would he give an address to the nation? Now, he's supposed to speak Friday night at a rally, I believe, in North Carolina. It may be kind of similar to this. This was about, to get you the exact amount of time he spoke, it was about, looks like 17 or 18 minutes. Where is this here? Yeah, about roughly 18 minutes. Let's see. More comments here from you guys. Max Hoema says, great speech. I love my country. Kelly Silkwind says, how do medicine prices go down 400%? Jake Reeder thought it was a nothing burger, as always. Muse Greg says he is campaigning, maybe because polls are so low. Jats Do It says, why address the nation? I don't get it. Nothing burger. Chris M thinks it reeked of desperation and anger. He yelled the entire time. We did have a couple of viewers who thought he was yelling. Let's see here. Bonus Fact thought he seemed angry. Maybe something happened at the last minute, said Bonus Fact. CRT thought it could have been a post on the website or a tweet. Mark F thought he seemed to be in a hurry. NY Committee thought he sounded nervous and manic. One of our viewers says, are we going to war? He did not mention the Venezuela, as far as I heard, he didn't mention the Venezuela situation. Barcode says, great Christmas address, it was great. Whimsical thought he was yelling. GTO thought it seemed rushed. Sages Levels thought nothing said was significant. Mia Epsilon says he wasn't yelling. He's from NYC. He's always loud. Sam says he did a wonderful job. Michael Avery says an energy level like nothing I've seen before. Mike says Venezuela was not mentioned. Pat C thought he looked very mad. Kim K. Carter thought it was a great speech. Xpa says it was a 20-minute waste of time. David Johnson says he was at top volume throughout. Someone asked about Flight Radar. I just want to repeat this. For months now, For months, we have been able to regularly see on Flight Radar 24 U.S. military planes near Venezuela. So the fact that you can see on Flight Radar 24 some military planes off the coast of Venezuela is not in and of itself, that does not mean there's a war going on right now, because this has been happening regularly for the last couple months. Right now, as we showed you earlier, there are two, looks like a couple hundred miles maybe off the coast of Venezuela, a couple of electronic warfare Growler aircraft, U.S. aircraft there. You can see on Flight Radar 24. Again, looks to me about maybe a couple hundred miles. But there was a fighter jet we saw before. But, you know, I don't see, this is nothing out of the ordinary for the last couple of months. Also, I personally would be pretty surprised if there were an actual U.S. air attack on Venezuela going on. I would be surprised if we could see those planes on Flight Radar 24. If they would have, I don't know, what do they call it, having their transponders turned on or whatever. Anyways, so there's nothing out of the ordinary that I can see on the face of it. I'm not an expert on that stuff. But the very fact that there's a couple of U.S. planes off the coast of Venezuela is really, that's been happening a lot over the last couple months. Let me read some more comments from you guys. Hey, thanks to Paul Doucette for your support. And Waldo thought he was rushing and angry. And let's see here. Rich thinks U.S. plane transponders would be turned off if there was an attack going on. Let's see here. Barry Beard says, nice money to the whole military. Yes, he announced that around 1.4 million, I believe, troops would be getting a $1,776 warrior dividend, which if you do the math, it adds up to about 2-point-something billion dollars of spending. I don't know, again, if there is some sort of any kind of legal issue with him just choosing to spend such a sum of money. You can see Trump announces $1,776 benefit for troops. Let's take some more comments from you guys. I want to hear what you had to say. What did you think of the speech? Let's see. Smokey thought he was pretty amped up. Jeff R. says, old man yells at cloud. Let's see here. Karen Moore thought he sounded angry and manic. I know a lot of our viewers thought he was going to say something about Venezuela. Look, I will say this. We had a poll earlier before the speech, and I said, will there be a big surprise in the speech? And, about YouTube was like half and half, and Twitch was like 60-40 yes. In my opinion, there were no big surprises in the speech. I didn't hear anything I would consider a big surprise. I mean, certainly, there's that announcement about the money for the troops, and that's good for the troops. Happy for them. But I don't consider that a big surprise. Phyllis Druin says, I liked his speech, very informative. One of our viewers, I think, said when he announced the payment to the soldiers, one of our viewers said, like, what about the rest of us? Let's see here. One of our viewers said, Tucker Carlson, ah ha 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 ha. Yeah, Tucker Carlson had said recently, am I right about this, that Tucker Carlson said recently? Hold on. I was telling you about that. Hang on. I had it right here before. It was... Can't find it. But he had recently said he had heard that Trump was good. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to watch this so I can see right here. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me just listen to what he says. Hold on. Let me just listen to it myself. Okay, so I just watched a clip which appears to show Tucker Carlson on Judge Andrew Napolitano's podcast, and he said that he had heard that Trump was going to announce war tonight in the address. Correct? That's the clip I just watched. That's the clip I just watched. I know some of our viewers were talking about that. Vicky says, that's what I saw. Stray Dogs and Alley Cat says maybe he chickened out. Hey, thanks to John Posey. Also, thanks to Philip Nicholson, who says this is presidential. Daniel Adams says blah, 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 nothing. Howie says it was a great speech. It stated everything he has done. Jonathan's back thought the speech was pre-recorded. John Turpin says President Trump's speech was straight to the point. Hope he gets it done. Let's see here. Our thanks to King Shrek for watching and writing in. King Shrek wrote to me before the speech. He thought it was going to be huge news regarding Venezuela. A number of our viewers thought there was going to be huge news regarding Venezuela, but I think there was basically no news regarding Venezuela. All right, I want to take some more comments from you guys. Let's see here. Thoughts on, yeah, we could talk. I want to talk about the Bongino thing in a second and a couple other things. We got to do one thing real quick. This is a sponsored episode. I really appreciate our sponsor, Gold Safe Exchange. So quickly, here is a word from me about our sponsor. And then after that, I'm going to take more of your comments. We'll talk about the Dan Bongino situation and take more of your comments on the speech. I want to hear from you. Write in the chat or write to me on X @Lookner. So short word about a sponsor. And then after that, more comments from you guys. You know, a number of people these days are investing in gold, silver, and other precious metals as a way of diversifying their portfolio. If you're interested in purchasing some precious metals, one way you can do that is with a precious metals IRA. This is an IRS-approved type of IRA in which your savings are invested into gold or other precious metals. If that kind of thing sounds interesting to you, if you want to know more, you can reach out to the folks at Gold Safe Exchange. They specialize in gold IRAs and other precious metals IRAs. Gold Safe Exchange puts a priority on customer service and transparency. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They have a price match guarantee. If you find a lower quote, they'll beat it. And they explain their processes in clear language so their clients know what's happening with their money. Also, they abide by all government security and safety standards. So if you're even a little interested in opening a gold IRA or other precious metals IRA, call Gold Safe Exchange at 800-341-6727 for a no-pressure chat. Or visit them on the web at goldsafeexchange.com/agenda-free. And mention Agenda-Free TV when you reach out to access a special offer where you could get free gold or silver with qualifying purchases. Okay, if you did not see it, here is the announcement from Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino today. I will be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, Attorney General Bondi, and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege to serve you. God bless America and all those who defend her. Now, President Trump did not talk about this during the speech. I don't think. It's possible, you know, sometimes I miss something in a speech. I'm dealing with the broadcast or whatever. I'm checking to see if there's any other big news updates. I don't remember hearing President Trump say anything about this. He did say today about, he was asked about Dan Bongino, and he said, Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show. Dan Bongino, prior to doing this job, had a lucrative podcasting career. So maybe that's what he's going to do. But I don't remember President Trump saying anything about this. And I'll take some comments from you guys. Let's see here. Kristen K. J. Dub says, it's normal for that position to leave routinely, but sad to see him go. Tace Vim is wondering if the speech tonight was edited. It didn't look edited to me. Allison Fowler says of Dan Bongino, back to podcasting. This is crazy. The people who watch his show are not going to watch him now. That's what Allison thinks. Let's see here. Scarlett thinks the announcement was a distraction from a U.S. attack on Venezuela. Hey, don't forget about the Epstein files, guys. Isn't the deadline for the Epstein files in like a day, in like 27 hours? Let's see here. It's Friday, right? Isn't it Friday? What's going to happen with those? Trying to find you just something on it right here. I thought 30 days was Friday. Sadiq says Friday. People in the chat saying it is. Yeah, for example, like NBC News had an article saying that Ro Khanna, who is one of the sponsors of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, a Democratic representative from California, told NBC News that there will be repercussions if the Justice Department does not make the files public by Friday. It's Wednesday night at 9:43 Eastern Time, guys. So Ro Khanna said there will be repercussions. Oh yeah, look, Ro Khanna also said Friday, December 19th is release day. That's what Ro Khanna said on his X account. We're going to do a poll right now. Will the Epstein files be released on Friday? That's going to be our poll. Now, if you think it's going to be released tomorrow, then vote yes. But the poll is going to be, will they be released on Friday? I am putting the poll. I'm going to get it on the screen now. Hold on. I gotta get it on the screen for you. I got to type it in. Should I say by Friday? The thing is, if I say by Friday, people are going to think, oh, you mean not on Friday. All right, here we go. I'm putting the poll in right now. Will the Epstein files be released by Friday deadline. How's that? Yes or no? Will they be released by Friday deadline? Let's see what you have to say. I'm putting it in the chat right now. Okay, our YouTube viewers say, oh, I have the White House live shot still. I can show you that. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. That's a nice shot there. Hey, look, it's the White House. Okay. On YouTube, here's what our viewers said. 72% say no. 72% on YouTube say no. The files will not be released by the Friday deadline. Let's go over to Twitch and see what they have to say on Twitch. 78% say no. The large majority of you say no. Jason Carlton says, I don't trust Cash or Bondi. Creation says, I don't care about the files. Gemini Rose says some meaningless ones will be. Like ones that have already been released maybe or something. Some of our viewers say PSYOP. By the way, our viewer Schrock says, I'm disappointed Trump didn't give an update on the ballroom. I feel like I've heard him briefly mention it in the speech. There's a Moten thinks they're only going to release parts of it. Pablo55 says, they will find a loophole. Trump's president, he can do anything. Juan Polo thinks it'll never be released. Jay Goodwin says, released but heavily redacted. Girth for Birth says, it's a law, they have no choice. East Coast Canadian Girl says, nope, Bondi is a screw-up, might release something, but not all. Another Jake says it's going to be so redacted it won't matter. Gary Bain says, of course they will, it's a law. Our viewer Terror Raid says going to be the worst day of Trump's life and I'm here for it. Said his life, I think you mean Trump. Seaside says everyone should know why not by now. Char says this is why Bongino is stepping down. He's not stepping down till January though. We might have to do coverage of that. I just don't know when the intended time of release might be. Judge Hat says maybe heavily redacted. All right, well, most of you think it's not going to be released by Friday. The majority of the people, strong, large majority in our poll. Thanks for voting in our poll. This was an interesting speech. Again, this wasn't addressed to the nation tonight, but, if you've heard him speak before, and do his, most of it, the large majority of it just felt like things he says in other speeches. So it didn't really feel like hugely new. Whatever you thought of it, I think it was quite similar to what he often normally says. So it's interesting that he chose to do a address to the nation. The Knight's Palace thinks he gives great speeches when he puts his emotions into it. Now, there's also the question of, was it originally going to be different? Did he change his mind about saying something? Yeah, Lisa Loves to Travel says he gave us charts. So if you want to, you can. There were a few times when he spoke, and then on the White House feed, charts popped up, but not on the the pool feed that I had. So if you want to, you can go to the White House social media and watch the speech there, and maybe you can see the charts. Thomas Darwin says only 18 minutes. Joey said mostly barking. Kathy says excellent speech on the economy. You know, sometimes with these speeches, I replay them. I don't feel a huge compulsion to replay that speech. I can replay it if you want. I mean, it feels like, you know, again, similar to a bunch of things he has said before. If people want to, I can replay it. I have a feeling people are going to be like, well, you know, I've kind of seen that kind of thing. Sometimes when I ask, a lot of people say yes. The people in the chat are pretty much all saying no right now. But sometimes there can be a speech by him or somebody else, and I say, well, do you want to see it again? And people are like, yeah, I really do. But yeah, I don't. Again, I think if you're a regular viewer of Trump, I don't think you'll be that surprised by the speech, whatever you think of it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe one time before the end we'll replay it. Maybe. I don't know. People are, the chat is overwhelmingly no. I might make an edit. Normally I replay them, but if it's, I don't know, if given that it's so similar to other things, I probably just won't replay it. Oh, you know, he's giving, I think we're probably going to end up, so tomorrow he might be speaking on reclassifying marijuana. So we may cover that tomorrow. When is he speaking tomorrow? I don't think I've seen a schedule for him tomorrow. So I gotta, and then Friday night he's supposed to do in North Carolina. He's going to speak in North Carolina. We may cover that. He's having, I believe, a rally in North Carolina. So we may cover that too. Ken Dahl thinks no one is going to entirely watch that again. Hey, thanks to the Sparky pilot. The Sparky pilot thinks all he did was blame others for the issues American industry brought on itself. That's what Sparky pilot thinks. Mammy says he does control the narrative. It's his narrative. He's the boss of bosses. Yes, as one of our viewers said, if you want to see the speech, you can just rewind this broadcast and you can see it. Serena Garland says no replay. He'll say it again tomorrow. Maybe I'll give you a sense of how this is being covered. If I see it here. This is one thing he did say in his speech. He said, Trump says next Fed chair will believe in lower interest rates by a lot. I think maybe he's been talking about naming the new Fed chair in January. That's an interesting story. We'll probably cover that when it happens. There's this question of, is he going to name somebody to the Fed chair where the world looks at it and says, well, that person's just going to do what he wants and he's just going to lower rates no matter what. Which could have a big impact on the economy or not. So we'll have to see how that turns out. But we'll be covering that when that actually happens. This is interesting. Leisha Desjardins with PBS. She said that speech, she timed it, and she said the speed of words per minute was twice Trump's reported State of the Union speed. Now, I don't know if his State of the Union speed maybe is slower than his normal speech. Some of our viewers thought maybe he was rushing some. That I don't know. Lisa Loves to Travel says he was definitely preaching with vigor. U.S. Gulf War vet thinks Tucker Carlson was lying through his teeth about war with Venezuela. That's what Gulf War vet thinks. Bonus fact, think he yelled the speech. Douthis thinks they sped up the teleprompter to keep him on script. Hey, thank you to Shermeen for your support, who says replay it because mainstream media doesn't report his accomplishments. Thank you, Shermeen. You can, if you want to see it, you can rewind it. It's on this stream. Taze Vim says, didn't even take a breather. Yeah, I know AJ Krause. AJ Krause says, State of the Union, they have to pause for cheers and ovations every other sentence. So I don't know, when she said twice the speech of twice the speed of State of the Union, I'm assuming she's not including all the pauses in the State of the Union speech. I'm assuming. Thanks, AJ Krause, so much for your support, by the way. Oh, you know what? I didn't catch, the one thing I didn't catch, it started suddenly. I didn't catch the first couple words. Can I just play the first couple words? I'm not going to replay the whole thing. I just want to hear the first couple words, like the first 20 seconds, because I missed it. We were looking at the flight radar. That was my fault. All right. Here's the first couple words of the speech. Because I think I missed the first 15 seconds or something. In the interest of
America, 11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it. When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans. This happened during...
I think that's basically what we missed. Hey, thanks to Michael McIntyre. Should I just play it again? All right, maybe I'll do it. Maybe, should I play it one more time, folks? Should I do it one more time? You want me to just play it one more time? I can play it. I can play the White House feed, and you can see the charts. I can play it with the charts. All right, I'm going to play it one more time. And I'll use this feed this time and not the pool feed, and you can see the charts. All right. So, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and you can see the charts for this one. People are fighting about it in the chat, but I'll just play it with the charts, or we're playing it with the charts. Okay. Look at how much. Look at the big disagreement in the chat. One of our viewers says, all right, let's take a look at it. We're gonna take a look at it.
A Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again. We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody, crime at record levels with law enforcement, and words such as that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world. But they're not laughing anymore. Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history. There's never been anything like it, and I think most would agree. I was elected in a landslide, winning the popular vote and all 7 swing states and everything else, with a mandate to take on a sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people. For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been allowed into our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%. We have broken the grip of sinister woke radicals in our schools, and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states where education belongs. After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, we have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East, and secured the release of the hostages, both living and dead. Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our Treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast. Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22% and in many states 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%. Now under our leadership, they are all coming down and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to make clear something. I am not blocking that chart. So the chart says Biden food increases and Trump food price Biden food price increases and Trump food price decreases. Now, you should be able to see what each item is, but you can't see the names of the items because it says text econ to 45470 for a White House flash poll. So I'm not blocking that. This looks like maybe it says ice cream. And this one says, I don't know what they say. So whole chicken maybe? So again, I just want to let you know, I'm not blocking those names of the food. On the YouTube page, this is the YouTube White House feed, their bug is blocking the names of the food. So it's not my fault. So don't blame me. Okay?
2% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000. Under Trump, the typical factory worker has seen a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,300. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation. Remember that. The wages, just look at it. Wages are going up much faster than inflation. How big is that? Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100% of all jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen, AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it. 1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world, and that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interests to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%. In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward, and I use the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stop ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up, but now they'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible. It's called Most Favored Nation, and no president has ever had the courage or ability to get this done until now. The first of these unprecedented price reductions will be available starting in January through a new website, TrumpRx.gov. And these big price cuts will greatly reduce the cost of health care. I'm also taking on the gigantic health insurance companies that have gotten rich on billions of dollars of money that should go directly to the people. The money should go to the people. That's you. So they can buy their own health insurance, which will give far better benefits at much lower costs. It will be far better health insurance. The current Unaffordable Care Act was created to make insurance companies rich. It was bad health care at much too high a cost, and you see that now in the steep increase in premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and they are demanding those increases, and it's their fault. It is not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Unaffordable Care Act, and everybody knew it. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health care at a much lower price. The only losers will be insurance companies that have gotten rich and the Democrat Party, which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, but that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost. Another major focus is the cost of energy. For years, the radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically drove up prices, and they drove them up at record levels. Electricity costs surged 30 to 100% under Biden, and the typical family lost $5,000 to $10,000 in higher energy costs. Think of that, $5,000 to $10,000 you lost. On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon. And within the next 12 months, we will have opened 1,600 new electrical generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody, or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. The Democrat inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream. The yearly cost of a typical new mortgage increased by $15,000 under Democrat rule. In 11 months, we've already gotten that annual cost down by $3,000, and it's coming down a lot lower. Wait till you see. The numbers are going to be shocking. And I'll soon announce our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Early the new year, and you will see this, in the new year I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens, 100%. In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected. And our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Soon we will host the World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
All right, so we replayed it for you after all that. Hey, you got to see the charts. You got to see the charts. By the way, White House Director of Communications Stephen Chung posted, after giving an epic address to the nation, President Trump is back in the Oval Office at 10 p.m. to continue working on behalf of the American people. That is from Stephen Chung, White House Director of Communications. By the way, thanks so much to Mitchell Pilot and Tanel. Thanks, Tanel. Tanel says, American business pay the tariffs, not foreign countries. He still does not understand it. Thanks, Janae in Utah for being a member. Nick Mochio, thank you. Shermeen, who says 18 trillion in tariff revenues is one accomplishment. Thank you, Michael McIntyre. Joe9611. He says he could have told Venezuela that tonight that he will declare war at this time if he doesn't concede scheduled and then change it after concession. So he's saying maybe that Venezuela made some concession we don't know about, Joe is saying, it sounds like. I'll let you know if I hear of anything. Thanks, Joe. Thank you to Sparky Pilot and Rick Ratz and Flung Pupanda. I'll say Flung Papanda. And also Fleshernet, who said the Epstein Files deadline is Friday. Paul 108, Michael Kelly, Christopher Zazo. Thanks, Christopher Zazo, for your support. Almighty Claus, who thinks the speech was AI. Jackie, thanks, Jackie. Jackie thinks there was another speech and that they prepared two speeches, and this is the one that went with, depending on what was negotiated beforehand. Thanks, Ken Lance, who's happy with money going to the military. Thanks, Doug Duck Vision, who says it was the best speech ever. Sparky Pilot, the 12th Woman, Lazy Chill Zone, thanks for your support. Sorry, I'm behind on my thank yous. Unknown R76, who said, if it was quiet, you would all think he's sick. It's never enough for you all. Ezzy Peasy, thank you. Ezzy Peasy and Startana and Stase and Lisa Loves to Travel and also PH Survivor 92. Sorry, I got way behind. Philip Nicholson, who thought it was presidential. And by the way, Mitchell Pilot mentioned another plane flying close. Yeah, so once again, there is a plane flying about, if I had to guess, like 100 miles off the coast of Venezuela. Boeing, it's a fighter plane, U.S. fighter plane. Mitchell Pilot, I believe a week or two ago, there was several hours when a bunch of U.S. planes were flying together, like 3 or 4 of them, right up the coast. So Mitchell thinks this is closer than they've ever flown before. I don't know that, Mitchell. I thought they was closer before, but I don't know. Anyways, you know my view on this. My view is that it's been regular seeing these planes on flight radar the last couple months. My view is also that if there's going to be some attack on by U.S. planes on Venezuela, I'd be absolutely shocked if they were visible on Flight Radar 24. That's just my view. But there are 55,000 people tracking that flight right now. But I remember a week or two ago, I think it was, there was a day when there was like several planes in formation flying right up the coast for hours, I believe. But we'll see what happens. Thank you, Mitchell Pilot. I appreciate it. And also, hey, on Twitch, thanks to Toolman Tim, Bar Blurts for your support. Toolman Tim gave a bunch of gift subs. Thank you. Diet Gingerdale. My guess for the speech was 13 minutes. It was 18 minutes, around 18 minutes. Anonymous Gifter, thank you. Sketty Sandwich over there. Goleta Mafia on Twitch. Hell of a Hognut and Beautiful Profanity, thanks on Twitch. And DC the Breaker as well. Someone mentioned the Pentagon Pizza Report. Here. Pentagon Pizza Report. At Penn Pizza Report, they say, well, this was 9 hours ago. They haven't posted since 9 hours ago. 9 hours ago said most pizzerias nearby the Pentagon are experiencing below average traffic. They look at the pizza traffic near the Pentagon as a possible sign of military activity. That's at Penn Pizza Report. All right. Last comments, a few last comments. We're going to take a few final comments right now. Lisa mentioned, thanks Lisa, the White House actually posted about the Warrior dividends, and they said active duty service members in grades 0 to 6 and below, and reserve component service members in grades 0 to 6 and below, and on active duty orders of 31 days or more, as of November 30th, 2025, are eligible. I don't know what that all means. President Trump said about 1.4 million people would get them, which would cost over $2 billion. Jamie Dupree, who is a journalist I follow, he posted, he said, when did Congress approve such a plan? Where is the money coming from? And some other things. What I said about this is I didn't know if there's going to be some kind of issue. Is the president just allowed to give out $2 billion just like that without Congress approving? I don't know. I have no idea. Thanks, Michael McIntyre, for your support. Let's see here. So I'll see what we hear about that. I don't know if that's going to be controversial at all. The Warrior dividend. But I'm certainly happy for soldiers who get more money. I'll say that. And Trump mentioned it was funded by tariff revenues. Anyways, I'm not a legal expert, constitutional law and spending expert. All right, a few more comments. Last chance, last call for comments. Last call for comments. Roberto thinks Trump can fix everything if he wanted to, but as soon as they elect another Democrat like Biden, all hell will break loose again. PW360 said Hannity said Trump may be on his show in the next hour. Evelyn in Maine said the speech was written by Stephen Miller and his speech in Trump's speechwriting team. I don't know where Evelyn's getting that report. That's what Evelyn said. Our viewer Lyle Marcheski says he is backpacking in Venezuela, and he said, rumor from my hostel worker is that they've received notes from the local military that U.S. forces have landed near Caracas, and we are being asked to shelter now. Thanks, Lyle. I just don't know. I cannot verify that Lyle is in Venezuela and that his hostel worker told him that. And if the worker at the hostel told him that is reliable information. So I'm passing along our comment from our viewer, Lyle. Yes, Louis Artis says big if true. Big if true. Exactly. Stay safe there. But thanks for watching and writing in, Lyle. If it turns out to be right, you can say you heard it from Lyle first. Nicholas Alexander sent me a post from Representative Carlos Jimenez. I think he posts stuff like this all the time. Let's see. What did he post? Where is it here? He said a couple hours ago, the time has come for the brave people. Carlos, if I remember right, I believe Representative Carlos Jimenez frequently posts stuff making it sound like an invasion or a war or military action is imminent. I'd have to go back and check, though. I remember that thing. So I'm not, again, I would need more than him posting something to think it's happening. But thanks, Nicholas, for reaching out. Let's see, did I want to mention anything else here? Special Farces says supposedly the U.S. House has decided to take Friday off in concern about the Epstein release. I don't know if the House's schedule had anything to do with the Epstein files. The House leadership, GOP leadership, did announce that there are no votes expected in the House on Friday, tomorrow. But I don't know why they announced that. They said the last votes for the week were expected on Thursday around 2 p.m. That's from Kathleen Clark, Democratic whip. According to Andrew Solinder with Axios. Oh, guys, I have an update for you here. Kelly Meyer of News Nation She points out, as a lot of you have said, that there was nothing about Venezuela in the address. She says a White House official said there was nothing about Venezuela in President Trump's speech for two reasons. One, because it is still ongoing. We saw another strike on an alleged drug boat today. And two, because the speech was very much focused on bread and butter issues on the home front instead of abroad. What can I say? He did not mention it in the speech. Oh, Charles Gasparino of Fox Business, he thinks that Trump is going to announce the rescheduling of marijuana to Schedule 3 at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. That's what he thinks. I have not seen a schedule for tomorrow. So maybe we'll cover that tomorrow when it happens. Maybe. If it happens. Lisa Loves to Travel says it should be announced at 4:20. All right. I think we're getting close. I think we're getting close to that time. I think it's it. Guys, we have done what we came to do. Hey, thanks to Who Shot JR. I think we've done what we came to do. I got to thank our moderators, too. We've done what we came to do. We covered President Trump's speech. We got to hear a bunch of your comments about it. I would say no major announcements in the speech. Nothing about Venezuela. I know a lot of people were wondering if he was going to say something about Venezuela. Nothing about Venezuela. But we're going to wrap this up right now. But hey, if there's big news later tonight, we can come back on the air and cover it. I really appreciate you guys being here for the speech, for the address to the nation, and joining me here. Appreciate you joining, and thanks for letting me read your comments on there. We got to a lot of comments tonight. Got to hear your thoughts about it, and I enjoyed watching it with you guys. And more coverage soon, I'm sure, of breaking news with all kinds of stories. And maybe we'll cover President Trump announcing something tomorrow if he does. But subscribe, follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda, Agenda Free TV. And I would suggest turning the notifications on, because you never know when big news is going to happen. We're going to all of a sudden come on the air. If you don't want to miss a stream, if you don't want to miss breaking news, sign up for our free notifications. It's easy. The mods will post the link to the notifications in the chat. You can also find the link to sign up for our notifications on YouTube and Facebook in the description of this video. So sign up for those notifications. Also, I will be posting updates about the news when we're not on the air on my X account, which is @Lookner. You can follow me there for breaking news, @Lookner on X. And huge shout out to our moderators. There were so many people in the chat tonight, and I love that we can have people with different views chatting together. But the only reason we can have those chat rooms is because we have our moderators keeping things civil and respectful and under control. So huge thanks to our moderators for being here. Roberts May Queen over there on YouTube. Thank you. Leslie Ladyhawk. Thank you so much. And all of our other moderators on YouTube. Thank you so much. On Twitch, people like LB Prairie Dawn. Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, big thanks to you and all of our Twitch moderators. Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Paul Anderson, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X, thanks to all of our moderators. You're awesome. Thank you. And a huge shout out to everybody who donated. Sims11, ZDG, and everybody else. Hopefully I thanked everybody. Mitchell Pilot and everybody else. Let me just make sure I got to everybody. I think I did. You never know, though. Oh, I didn't thank Michael McIntyre for becoming a member. Thanks, Michael McIntyre, for your support. I thanked Tanel, right? Tanel 3790. Yeah, I did. So really appreciate it. Your support is what allows this channel to exist. If you ever want to donate, you go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But huge thanks to you. I really appreciate it. It's really kind of you guys. Thanks for supporting the channel. And let's see here. Hey, we do have a chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. Our free Discord chat. A bunch of our viewers like doing that. Check it out. It's the same link as the free notifications link. So check out our Discord chat. Thanks so much to our Discord moderators for all you do over there on Discord. By the way, if you're on X, another great way to find out when we're live is follow us on X. I always post on our X account before we go live at Agenda Free TV. I post updates about the channel there too. You can follow us over there. And if you watch on YouTube, I would say, if you watch on YouTube, turn on the YouTube notifications. Turn on the YouTube notifications. That is a helpful way to find out when we're live if you're on YouTube. The way you do that is, I will show you this. Here's the YouTube page. You got to subscribe to the channel, then click the bell and choose all notifications. Subscribe, hit the bell, choose all notifications. If you're already subscribed, hit the bell and choose all notifications. Jason Carlton said he did not mention Bongino leaving in his speech. He commented on it earlier in the day. If you missed it, Inked Patriot Queen says, damn, I missed it. You can go back and rewind and watch it. Oh, played it twice. Once with the charts and once without. Hey, thanks so much to our Twitch subscribers for subscribing and supporting the channel, like Wall Street and Shaggy and Amelian and Beautiful Profanity. Thank you so much. And Jingo is me, ZZYGYY. Thank you. Billy Joe, thanks for subscribing. Thanks to all of our subscribers over there. Matthew Kohai 3, Toolman Tim, thank you. Sketty Sandwich, and all of our other subscribers on Twitch, thank you. Namaxwe, also our Facebook subscribers, big thanks to you, like Chuck Mosca. Hey, Christina Neal was moderating too. Thanks, Christina. Sharon Klassen Goslin, Michael Clayton, Robert Real II, Jennifer Ellers, Diane Allworth, Kay Lowry Body, Shannon Davis Hughes, Margaret Riley, and Helen Anderson, and all of our other Facebook subscribers. Thanks so much. And hold on a second. Thanks for the Facebook stars, Julie Shields and Mikla Lyles Barr. I missed that earlier. Julie Shields and Mikla Lyles Barr, thanks for the Facebook stars. And also, thank you to our YouTube members like Sean C. and Evelyn in Maine, Amy O.G., CAC, Roger Shoemaker, Crypto King, Danielle Klingenberg, Hugs and Stuff, Lisa Loves to Travel, Mammy Washington, Inked Patriot Queen, Patricia Grace, Roger Shoemaker, Sean C., Eric Johnson, Michael Avery, UV Lightning, Silent Hero, Jason Carlton, who else? Eddie C., Joe Mo. Thanks for being members. Tim Barron. Also Sadiq. Thanks for being a member. CDJ, Joe Hall, Barbara LaFrance, Michael Avery, Ronan, Janae in Utah, If You Say So, and all of our other YouTube members. Gary Baines, Sausage, thank you. Thanks to all of our other viewers like Life is Best to Learn English, KB Crenshaw, Hurricane Olaine, thank you for watching. And also... Mikia Lyles Barr. I might have said it a little wrong, Mikia, but I tried. Thank you. And also thanks for watching people like Paula Thompson and Felix Montoyo and Hope Wynn, Juliana Martin, thank you. And I Beat Kasparov, thanks for watching. Opiece TV. Yes, you can rewind and watch it. Tech Slug, thanks for watching. You can rewind and watch it if you missed it. Rewind it. All right, guys, we're wrapping this up. Greaseworm, thanks for watching. Terror Raid, thanks for watching. We are wrapping it up. That is it for now. I am sure we'll be covering more news in the next couple days, but that is it for now. If there's some huge news tonight, we'll come back on the air. Thank you so much for watching here at Agenda Free TV, President Trump's address to the nation. We will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.